Okay.
Right. Hi, reporting to you from Sanduka, whatever it is, 3,600 metres altitude. That's about 11,800 feet, and this is the start of day 2. Day 1 yesterday was, as expected, the hardest day. I hope the hardest day. It was basically we started 5,000, 6,000 feet away, and we climbed the entire way. We're on a run, but we couldn't really run very much. The first 10 miles or so, there was a little bit of running for me, and then after 10 miles, I fell over a couple of times, and it became walking. And from 17 and a half miles, it was survival. It wasn't. There was nothing to do with running. It was pure and simple. Get to the top of this mountain, and for me, from there on, it was. I started to feel sick and headachy and all the things you expect from running at altitude. What I thought would be looking around, sightseeing, didn't actually happen, because most of the time I spent looking down at the floor to see that I wasn't going to fall over again and just watch my footing, because the road is a cobbly road. But it's not all doom and gloom, because when we get back, it was a kind of, everyone's in a state of like having to get warm and everything, but the people here are great, and once you've had your soup and swapped stories and chat to everybody, it's a really good environment. Everyone's really positive, and there's a great atmosphere amongst the people doing the race. Yesterday it took me 7 hours 7 minutes to run 20 miles, which, you know, it seems unreal, but as I said, most of it was walking. Chris, who's videoing this, did an amazing 5 hour 48 and was 5th in. And that was just an incredible time. And the guy who won it, Martin Cox, he did it in 4 hours. If you've had any idea what we'd endured, it beggars belief, really. There's a 73-year-old guy called Rex. He said that he was a bit disappointed that he had to get the Jeep around about, I don't know, 20k or something. But the fact that he was doing it, it's one of those things. Everybody said it's the hardest thing they've ever done, and that's the only way to describe it. It's not like running hard. It's not like being out of breath. It's that, for me anyway, it was about the hills and the altitude. You'd have to train in a mountain region to really prepare for this. I went through a tumult of emotions yesterday, from starting off feeling hypoxic straight away, so my breath was all over the place as soon as I started. And then as I continued up the hill, I kind of realised that, okay, it's going to be a walk-run thing. But was running and trying to be competitive. And then when it got to the survival stage of beyond 17 and a half miles, like I said, all other thoughts went out of my head. It was just to get to the top. In between that, what I was going to say was that I had a brief moment where I thought, I wish I'd trained harder, I wish I'd done this, I wish I'd done that. If I was to do this again, anyone thinking of doing this kind of event, it's definitely worth, really, if you want to be competitive and not just endure the event, is to trail run on the hills, get a decent pair of shoes, proper trail shoes, wear them in, know exactly what you're going to wear. The trail shoes that are probably the best are ones with a good bit of heel support, good toe box with something to prevent your feet getting hit by the rocks. I've seen a lot of good Salomon shoes. It's a specialist type of event, so, you know, for me, who's a competitive marathon runner, I've had to change my mentality from someone who normally goes and does a marathon and expects to do reasonably well. I've had to go to, as someone who might be doing a 5 or 6 hour marathon would feel, and it's just an endurance, it's just getting through it. So if you wanted to be competitive in any sort of way, or to feel like you were taking part in the event as a runner, then you would need to seriously train for this. Like Martin, for example, has been doing 100-mile weeks, and he lives in the Lake District and trains on the hills. And Claire, who was the second lady here, she's a fell runner who does loads and loads of trail running, and came out here to acclimatise as well for a couple of weeks before. But it's all worth it. We did have an interesting night last night. We went to bed at 8 o'clock and we slept for, I don't know, not very long. We had a couple of hours looking for the imaginary rat in the room. I'm not sure if there was a rat or whether it was just the rattling of our plastic things, because it was a full-blown storm outside. Not many people slept last night. It's a combination of altitude and probably changing of scenery and everything else, and going to bed at 7 or 8 o'clock. But we're all in it. Everyone's in the same boat, and we're all in it together, so to speak. And so here comes day 2, 20 miles at 11,000 feet. It's supposed to be a little bit easier, more undulating than the kind of horrendous climb we had yesterday. And tomorrow's the marathon. So that's day 1, day 2, and we'll be back tomorrow to report on the marathon. That's it.